Hey there. Good day, good morning, good afternoon. Hope that you're having a fantastic day so far. My name is Cyreta Laws-Frumau. I'm a performance and mindset coach with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. Today, we are continuing our journey through the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, this 1937 classic that changed the lives of millions of people around the world. In fact, it has sold over 15 million copies. It is considered by many persons to be the greatest motivational book of all times. My mentor, the late Bob Proctor, he read this book for most of his life, started around the age of 26, and until his passing earlier this year in February, he was still reading this book. So, and he achieved a lot of great and fabulous things in his life. When he started reading this book, he was not very, he had financial troubles. He was not very happy, as he would say, and he was always in poor health, always complaining about something or the other. And when his mentor, Ray Stanford, started mentoring him and also got him to start reading this book in a combination with the mentoring and the reading of this book, he was able to completely change his life. My desire and hope is that you will be reading along with me, or you have been reading along with me, and that you can start implementing some of the success principles, if not all of them, eventually all of them, because it can make a huge difference in your own lives and the lives of those around you. So start implementing, taking action, start being aware of some of the things that might be holding you back from the life that you desire. Now, we are on chapter 15, which is the final chapter, and we're going through the 6 ghosts of fear, and we're on ghost number 3. We already discussed the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism. So today we're going to discuss the fear of ill health. We're going to talk about what it is, look at what Napoleon considers the origin of it. We're going to talk about the effects. And finally, we're going to talk about the symptoms. So what is this thing? I pulled up a definition from so I pulled up a definition from the Oxford Dictionary online, and it says that this is a condition of inferior health. So it can be a poor physical or a poor mental condition. So it's not only physical, it is mental. We know how important the mind is, having the right mindset to move towards your goals and your desire. So this is a big one, very serious. Napoleon says that this fear can be traced back to physical and social heredity. And it is closely associated with the fear of old age and the fear of death. We're going to go into that in a later video. And, this fear comes about because of the terrible pictures that has been planted in the mind of man. And if it overtakes him, so the more that this fear lingers in the mind, it can and most likely lead to death. It has been shown most convincingly that the fear of disease, even where there isn't the slightest cause for fear, often produces the physical symptoms of the disease. So just the fear of it, even though scientifically or biologically, this disease cannot influence someone, it can actually lead to the physical symptom of this disease. Because we have to remember, right, that it first starts in the mind. Nothing is created before it first begins in the mind. So it begins in the mind and then it translates itself into physical symptoms. So the human mind is extremely powerful. And rightly, as Napoleon says, it builds or it destroys. You can choose if you want to put thoughts in your mind that will build your life and your future. And Napoleon also gave here an example, something that happened with the flu epidemic that broke out during the World War. And the mayor of New York at the time, New York City, he actually told the newspapers not to publish any scary headlines, because sometimes newspapers, they publish these sensational headlines just to get more sales, just to let people, just to let people buy the paper. But it can actually, and it actually started to influence the growth of the fear and of the disease. So the mayor said, listen, let's not publish too much sensational, scary headlines. And within a month, the epidemic had been successfully checked. And I guess we can see something similar happening with the recent scare that we had with the coronavirus, and how it took, even though initially they thought it would take a couple months for us to get back to normal, it took, what, almost 2 years? So look at that. All right. So what are the effects of this disease? There is an overwhelming evidence that disease sometimes begin in the form of a negative thought impulse, Napoleon says. Such an impulse may be passed from one mind to another by suggestion, or created by an individual in his own mind. So not only can we create in our own mind this negative impulse and this suggestion, which can perpetuate itself from just a fear and of ill health and lead to death, but we can also pick it up from other minds. So we also have to be careful about the closeness or how we internalize conversations around us. This seed of fear lives in every human mind. So the effects are worry, fear, discouragement, disappointment in love and business affair, and it can cause it to germinate and grow, as we have been saying. Okay. Let's look at, and there's something that, I just remember I wanted to share with you. And you understand how powerful this can be, because there are also persons that have been given a pill that they were told would cure an illness, but it wasn't real. It's what they call the placebo effect. So they give them a pill which doesn't have anything other than sugar and water mixed together and forming a pill, and they give it to a patient and they say, listen, this is going to cure whatever you have, and it works, because the mind is really that powerful. It creates and it destroys. So beware. Of course, you take the regular precautions of if it's something really serious and you need to go to the doctor, you do. But be careful of what you're constantly fixing your mind on, the things that you're reading in the newspaper and or online. Okay, so what are the symptoms of the fear of ill health? Autosuggestion is number one. And gonna encourage you, as usual, to read these for yourselves. So it starts on page 345 of my book and ends on page 346. So autosuggestion, the habit of negative use of self-suggestion by looking for and expecting to find the symptoms of all kinds of disease. So this is someone it's very self-destructive, huh? Because you can place in your mind good thoughts and you can auto-suggest and keep telling yourself good things, or you can start looking for and expecting disease and illness. And we studied the chapter on autosuggestion, which was chapter 4. If you don't remember that chapter, please revisit that video. The second one is hypochondria, which is a habit of talking of disease or illness concerning the mind upon disease and expecting its appearance until a nervous break occurred. You know, as I read this, it just sounds really heavy. It sounds really sad that there are persons that actually go through a lot of these symptoms. And if you know someone that does, get them to read this book, get them to watch this video and help them to change their mind, to shift their thinking. Because like we've been saying, it's brought on by negative thinking, and nothing but a positive thought can cure it. And the positive thought that we want to also suggest, the positive thought, because it's through the repetition that things change. Exercise, that's number 3. Fear of ill health often interferes with proper physical exercise and results in overweight by causing one to avoid outdoor life. The 4th is susceptibility. The fear of ill health breaks down nature's body resistance and creates a favorable condition for any form of disease one may contract. The fear of ill health often is related to the fear of poverty, especially in the case of hypochondria, who constantly worries about the possibility of having to pay the doctor's bills, hospital bills, etc. This type of person spends much time preparing for sickness, talking about death, saving money for cemetery lots and burial expenses, etc. Yeah, we know that there's life and there's death. So we can choose which one to focus on. And it is a choice. They're going in 2 different directions. Where are we now? Number 5, self-cuddling, the habit of making the bid for sympathy. I actually know a few persons like this. So it's like they need that attention. So like they would pretend to be sick just to get attention. Or Napoleon says, people often resort to this trick to avoid work. The habit of feigning illness to cover plain laziness or to serve as an alibi for lack of ambition. So the person actually thinks that they're doing themselves a favor, but the longer and the more they do this can actually severely impact them. So we do have to be careful with this one. The final one is intemperance, the habit of using alcohol or narcotics to destroy pains such as headaches, etc., instead of eliminating the cause. So instead of going to the root cause, so if you suffer from headaches or some other illness, instead of going to the root cause of it, you take alcohol or narcotics. So you take drugs to numb the pain. And Napoleon also says the habit of reading about illness and worrying over the possibility of being stricken by it. The habit of reading patent medicine advertisements. Yeah, so that's a heavy one, guys. So if you know someone who, like I said, who may be experiencing these symptoms, encourage them to break that cycle, to shift out of it. And of course, they have to be willing. Of course, you know, we all have a choice. Sometimes some persons are so far gone that they might not even realize that it's a thing, that they're going down, they're in a spiral, a downward spiral. Okay, so that's one ghost that we're going to eliminate. We're not going to focus on this ghost, as with all these ghosts. And that's the 3rd ghost of fear. In the next video, we are going to move on to the fear of loss of love. Until then, take care of your beautiful selves, and I will catch you in that video. Have a great day.